48 hours to go for the polls. The long election campaign in Pakistan winds down tonight. The campaign will close at midnight, allowing candidates and even voters a short breather before polling begins on Wednesday. Expect action later tonight. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's Imran Khan will be holding a rally in Lahore. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz PMLN's Shehbaz Sharif will address a rally in Rawalpindi. Imran Khan's PTI is being projected to get the maximum number of seats in this election ahead of the PMLN, the incumbent party. Some opinion polls indicate that he may be able to form the government in alliance with smaller parties. With Nawaz Sharif in jail and court cases against the Pakistan People Party's Asif Ali Zardari, the campaign was always skewed in favor of Imran Khan. It also witnessed 2 terror attacks. More than 170 people were killed in this Pakistan election campaign over the past few weeks. The man to watch then clearly is Imran Khan. He's been called Pakistan's Prime Minister in waiting. Opinion polls say that his party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, may win the maximum number of seats in Wednesday's election. With one political rival behind bars and the other a novice, Imran Khan is clearly the most sought-after leader in Pakistan today. He's also seen as a politician close to the army. There are allegations that the Pakistan Intelligence Agency and the army are propping up Imran Khan, something that both sides deny. Here's an exclusive interview.
What do you respond to allegations that we've been reading for the past weeks that you are supported by the army and the security agencies of Pakistan?
The same allegations existed before 2013 election. When PTI burst into the public with these massive rallies and crowds. Again, we had, that ISI was supporting PTI. But when it turned out, the 2000 election were all the players were supporting the Sharif party, including the establishment. And this all came out because we then did a protest on the rigged elections. And when the hearing took place in the Supreme Court, one of the things that came out was the establishment supporting PMLN. So now what is happening is that first time PMLN is not being supported by the establishment. PML was nurtured, born in the lap of a military dictator. Nawaz Sharif was the protege of General Zia. He picked up a businessman and made him into a politician. Then ISI backed him in 1990, and there's a Supreme Court case where the ISI chief said we paid money to PML and Nawaz Sharif. Then in 97 they were backed by the establishment. Then in 2013 they were backed. So this time they are not backed by the establishment. And on top of it, the corruption cases of Nawaz Sharif, he's always got away with corruption cases. There have been corruption cases against him past 20 years. This time, neither the Supreme Court allowed him to get away with it, and the 2 brigadiers in the JIT, which was formed to investigate Sharif's corruption, neither did they succumb to pressure of Nawaz Sharif. So it's the first time he has not been helped either by the Supreme Court or the army. Previously it was, because this Asghar Khan case in 1990, where he took money from ISI and won the elections against Benazir Bhutto in 1990, no one heard the case for 20 years because he's too powerful. But this time, his main grouse is that the establishment did not help him. And he's attacking the military and the Supreme Court and saying that, they are against me because he's working from the George Bush saying either you're with me or against me. So he wanted his own umpires, and this time he's not got them.
So you're saying the ISI doesn't have at all a political role in this election?
ISI would have a political role as much as it would have in any elections. But to say that PTI has been supported is going against, if you look around in the public, the only party that is drawing massive crowds is PTI. The only party that is actually going out in public and people are supporting it is PTI. So if democracy is people, then people are supporting PTI. All opinion polls show that PTI has gone up. And so to blame our success on being backed by the military is just nonsense.
In another interview, Imran Khan broke his silence on former wife Reham Khan. He said that marrying her was the biggest mistake of his life. Reham, who is WION's special panelist for Pakistan's general election, did for once agree with Mr. Khan. She said that Imran Khan is right. The marriage indeed was a mistake. Listen into her side of the story.
I couldn't agree more with this statement of Imran, and there's very few things that I agree on with him, but this I do agree was his biggest mistake, and I'll tell you why exactly it was the biggest mistake. Because you see, we have celebrities like himself and self-proclaimed leaders like himself surrounded by sycophants, and this time round he found someone who would call a spade and who would not really be able to flatter his ego, and was telling him exactly what was wrong with his government and what was wrong with his decision-making or lack of decision-making problems. And since I'm not a puppet, I think that I do not have any respect for those who are puppets or who have no moral compass. So indeed, I'm in that respect certainly very different. And that perhaps was a shock to the system and perhaps a shock to the ego also. And this is a first for him, because a lot of people have a lot more information, a lot more knowledge, maybe have spent over 22 years with him, and certainly other women as well as men within the party, all of them know that what I'm saying is absolutely true. But nobody has had the courage and the guts to call it out and to say it very clearly, very bluntly, and put it out there to expose the reality. So of course, I mean, this in his eyes obviously is a mistake, and I couldn't agree more with that, because he should have been a bit more careful, maybe chosen another sycophant, maybe chosen someone who would be a party to his turning a blind eye to corruption in the KP government and also within the party. I wasn't going to do that. For me, the homeland and Pakistan comes first, and if it means sacrificing someone who is close to you and distancing yourself from them, I will do that. If it was my own son or my brother, I would still do that. For me, Pakistan comes first. There is no compromise on that. So it is an ideological rift. It was always an ideological rift, and I couldn't compromise my principles. I cannot compromise my principles like Imran can. He is, if I was a political advisor, I would say that it was a bad move. I think it is strategically showing incompetence, really. And that has always been the problem, where even, and that was mainly the argument that I would say, that even if people are not disloyal to you, they are incompetent. And I feel that the image deconstruction and the destruction of a hero that we've seen from the beginning of this year, pre my book, is actually because of very, very bad advice. And here today he stands defamed. It's a tragic fall for a hero. And I think that this advice also came at the wrong time. It shows his frustration. I think that it's everybody around the world now is writing about the fact that it is looking like a very, it's not even a sham democracy. It's actually just a selection process, and it's been called the dirtiest election in Pakistan's history. So that is certainly going to make him look very edgy and nervous, and this was the wrong idea. To give an interview to a tabloid was a knee-jerk reaction, and I think very, very misguided. He should have known better than that. But of course, that's the problem, you see. This is the way they've handled this book, and the way they've reacted to it is actually exposing their incompetencies and, as I've repeatedly said, their buffoonery. So I think that this is not a very clever strategic move.
For politicians in Pakistan, the relationship with India is probably the most complex issue. So it's worth dwelling on who stands where when it comes to the India policy. Nawaz Sharif was probably India's best bet. As a leader who repeatedly challenged the army and one who wanted to mend fences with India, Nawaz Sharif would have been the ideal Prime Minister for New Delhi. That may not be. Sharif and his daughter are in jail, as we know, for corruption charges, and the chances for their party, the PMLN, are bleak. If by some miracle it does come back to power, Shehbaz Sharif will be their prime ministerial face, and he is known to be a person who toes his brother's line on normalizing relations with India. On the 12th of June, right after the Trump-Kim meeting, Shehbaz Sharif had suggested that India and Pakistan resume talks. But here's the fundamental thing. There's a world of difference between what's said and what's done. In the unlikely event of a win for the PMLN, it will not challenge the army. In fact, Shehbaz Sharif is also known to be more accommodative of the army as compared to his brother Nawaz. So there will be status quo of if the incumbent returns. Next comes Imran Khan. His campaign was rather vitriolic, from calling his political rivals names to using unparliamentary language. The PTI chief used every tactic to grab attention. Even when it came to India, he minced no words, accusing the Narendra Modi government of ruining ties between the two countries. Imran Khan said that the current dispensation often makes Pakistan a scapegoat when it comes to Kashmir.
there's a independence freedom movement going on in Kashmir, and India blames Pakistan for that. And so therefore, that Kashmiri freedom movement is an impediment between peace between the two countries, because the Modi government, Narendra Modi government, makes Pakistan a scapegoat for what's happening in Kashmir.
So you're saying on the Indian part there's no will to settle this issue?
I think the relationship probably have been the worst since the Narendra Modi government came in, which is a very hardline government. And actually give full marks to Pakistan for trying to get better relation. But you see, as long as Kashmir is such an issue now, because of this movement gaining momentum, and then the atrocities of the Indian troops, violation of human rights in Kashmir, then Pakistan is blamed, and Pakistan, on the other hand, has to support the Kashmiri movement, freedom movement. So that's the problem right now. But ideally, we should have peace with India, and the whole subcontinent is held hostage to the Kashmir issue.
He believes there should be peace with India. The third key player in Pakistan is Pakistan People's Party leader Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. In September 2014, he made headlines for a fiery speech at a political rally. He promised to free Kashmir and unite it with Pakistan. He declared that he will bring back every inch of Kashmir. That was the Bhutto sign in 2014. 4 years later, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has toned down. He's a more mature politician and now pitches for talks between the two countries. And the most disastrous consequences for India will be if terrorists rule the Pakistan government. Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed may not be contesting this election himself, but he's fielded more than 260 candidates. He's also been actively campaigning for his son and his party. On the 3rd of July, he was heard hitting out at Pakistani politicians for being puppets of India and the United States. He blamed India for trying to divide Pakistan. This party's win will spell the most unsavory scenario for India. Meanwhile, it's been 10 days since Nawaz Sharif left the comforts of his home in London and flew back to Pakistan. 10 days since he's been lodged in the Adiala jail in Rawalpindi. And the former Pakistani Prime Minister's health has taken a turn for the worst. Sharif's sugar level, we are told, is rising alarmingly. His heartbeat is reportedly irregular due to dehydration. Concerns have been raised that his kidneys could be adversely affected given the presence of urea in his blood. Heat and lack of sleep are adding to Nawaz Sharif's health woes. Doctors have warned that his condition is likely to worsen if he continues to be in the present circumstances. A board of doctors examined Nawaz Sharif and they decided to keep him inside Adiala jail for the moment. But he was shifted from his prison cell to the hospital inside the premises. Sharif's personal doctor does not agree. He's advised the jail administration to move him to a medical facility outside at the earliest.
I will not leave without my doctor. This is extremely unfair. It is inhuman, or everyone knows what kind of medical condition he has gone through in the past.
Sharif's party, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, claimed that his health was deteriorating due to lack of basic facilities in jail. A spokesperson for the party went on to say that jail authorities were depriving the former Prime Minister of even basic facilities.